Hey guys, this is Mr. H here. I'm going to walk you through practice file 6.3, which is a conservation of energy problem where we have a bungee jumper at the edge of a cliff, jumps off the cliff, goes into free fall, and at some point that bungee kicks in, providing an upward force that eventually makes the bungee jumper stop before they plummet into the ground. As always, the total energy of our system remains constant throughout this entire process here, and we can use that in order to solve the problem. So we're just going to work through this thing piece by piece here. Given information is that the jumper has a mass of 100 kilograms. We're going to use 10 for gravity. And then this is drawn to scale. So every centimeter is equivalent to 5 meters of height. So the first thing they want us to do is find the height of the cliff. So we're looking at a 16 centimeter measurement here. So if we go ahead and perform that conversion, we're looking at 16 centimeters converted over to meters. We're saying that there is 5 meters equivalent to 1 centimeter using factor label. We're going to go 16 times 5. So this is an 80-meter cliff, meaning our jumper is 80 meters high at the very beginning. So they want us to find the total energy at the top. So we're going to find the total energy, which is going to be, we're going to throw in another variable here. Instead of just calling it potential, we're going to call it GPE for gravitational potential plus KE, which is due to motion. Okay, we're going to throw in a third kind of energy here, which is based on the energy that gets stored up in this bungee. Okay, if you can imagine like stretching a rubber band or stretching like a bow and arrow, as you stretch that rubber band or the bow, there's energy built up in that stretch, and when you let it go, it gets released as kinetic, okay? So we call that elastic potential energy. So we're going to throw that in here as a third kind of energy that our bungee jumper could have at some point along his journey here. Okay, so if we go ahead and just think about what's going on here, we know at the very top, right up here, our jumper is going to be at rest, so the kinetic's going to be 0. We also know that at this point, you can clearly see here, right, your bungee is not stretched out. So there is no stretch to it. We can drop out the elastic potential. That means our total energy at the beginning is simply gravitational potential. So our total energy is going to be mgh. Okay, and we've got all those things right here, right? We know the mass of our jumper. We're told to use 10 for gravity, and there's our cliff height. So let's just go ahead and throw that in. Our total energy is going to be 100 kilograms times 10 meters per second squared for gravity times that 80-meter cliff height. So the total energy at the beginning, we're looking at 80,000 joules if you multiply those three terms together. And that's important because our total energy remains constant, and that's going to be our total energy for anywhere along the jump here. So question 2 goes right into what I was just talking about. What is his total energy after falling for 3 seconds? Well, COE, conservation of energy. Our total energy cannot change. So the total energy at the beginning was 80,000. Therefore, 3 seconds into his jump, it's also going to be 80,000 joules. Okay, now we get to question 3. At this time, 3 seconds into his jump, we are now being told that he falls a total of 45 meters. So that's actually going to be, 45 meters is going to be right here. Okay, so he's at this position 3 seconds into the jump. He has fallen 45 meters. So they want us to find his gravitational potential after 3 seconds, okay? Well, you got to be really careful here, guys. This is, as always, there's a twist in every physics problem we do. We're told that he falls 45 meters, okay? So his fall is 45 meters, which means, remember, he was 80 meters above the ground to start. So if he falls 45 meters, right, we subtract 45 meters off of the 80-meter height, we're going to find that he is 35 meters above the ground at this position. Okay, the height is not 45. The height is 35 because he has fallen 45. Okay, so it's all in the wording here. We have to read really, really carefully. So we can go ahead and do this. We can find his gravitational potential energy because that is mgh GH, we know all of these things. His GPE is going to be 100 kilograms of mass times gravity, 10 meters per second squared, times that 35 meters of height, which gives us a gravitational potential energy of 35,000 joules, which is to be expected, right? He's fallen, he's closer to the ground, that gravitational potential energy has decreased. Okay, now, at the point he comes to a stop, all right, they want us to find out when he comes to a stop, how much elastic potential energy does he have at this position, okay? So how much energy is built up in the stretch of the bungee when he reaches here where he is 5 meters above the ground. All right, folks, well, we need to use our total energy equation here, right? Total energy is going to be our gravitational potential energy plus our kinetic energy plus our elastic potential energy, okay? And we need to read carefully here, okay? We are told that he comes to a stop 5 meters above the ground, okay? So stop tells us no kinetic. All right, that means, guys, all of his energy is going to be due to position above the ground. He is above the ground just slightly, so we can find that gravitational and the energy built up in the stretch. All right, so we can go ahead and do that. We know the total energy at the beginning was 80,000 joules. That means at the end, it's 80,000 joules. Gravitational potential energy is going to be mgh, okay, and elastic is going to be what's left over. So we don't know the elastic. We're going to find it. That's what we want. That's the end game here, right? So let's go ahead and sub in for mgh for our gravitational potential, 100 kilograms. Here he's going to be still against gravity and only 5 meters above the ground. And then EPE, elastic, is what we're going for. So 100 times 10 is 1,000, times 5 is 5,000. So we get 80,000 joules is our total. We have 5,000 joules of gravitational potential, meaning everything else is elastic. So if you subtract 5,000 joules off of the 80,000, you're going to get 75,000 joules of elastic potential energy. That's the energy stored up in his bungee. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why after he reaches this point, he bounces back way up in the air because that elastic potential gets released and he gets flung upwards, okay? And then the process starts again. He falls down, right? That energy gets stored back up in the bungee, and then he gets launched again over and over and over again. All right, so there you go. There's your answer to the first four. Now, there's certainly more we can do with this and things that we want to do with this that are going to help us out, especially with the test on Friday, hint, hint. So we're going to go ahead and do this extension here as well because it's going to be very, very helpful to us. So the first part here is they want us to find his kinetic energy after falling for 3 seconds. Well, if you'll recall, the kinetic energy, guys, is going to be here after 3 seconds. The beauty is we already know how much gravitational potential energy he has after falling for 3 seconds. So we're going to go back to our equation that we've been using quite frequently, right? Our total energy is going to be our gravitational potential energy plus our kinetic energy plus our elastic potential energy. Okay, and what I want you to realize here is that when he gets to this point, okay, his bungee has not started stretching yet. This is the point right where the bungee begins to kick in. So there is no elastic yet. Once he crosses this point, then it starts to stretch. So we know at the 3 second point where he's fallen 45 meters down, there is no elastic. Okay, we also know, because we found it earlier, at this position, 3 seconds in, he has 35,000 joules of gravitational. So that's our GPE. Okay, and of course we know our total because that never changes. It's 80,000 joules. That leaves one thing and one thing only, which is our total energy. So we can sub in and solve this thing. Right, our total energy is 80,000 joules. Found that at the beginning. Gravitational we found earlier. It's 35,000 joules. And kinetic is what we want to find out. So 80,000, subtract 35,000 to solve for kinetic. We find that our kinetic energy is 45,000 joules after he has fallen 45 meters down to a height of 35 meters above the ground. Okay, question 2 is a piggyback off of question 1. Knowing the kinetic energy, we can now find the speed because, of course, if you take your kinetic energy equation, right, KE equals 1/2 mv squared, rearrange to solve for velocity. Remember, we do get this one, 2ke over m, all under the root is going to give us the velocity. So all we got to do is sub in what we know. We know the kinetic energy, and remember, we also know his mass. So we have mass, we have ke, we're good to go. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do the root of 2 times 45,000 joules divided by 100 kilograms. Okay, and that's all going to sit under the root. So we're looking at 90,000, right? And that's going to be divided by 100, which should give us 900. So the root of 900 is 30 meters per second is his velocity. By the way, if you think back to first semester, he's under the influence of gravity. Every second he speeds up by 10 meters per second. He's fallen for 3 seconds. It should be obvious that he should be going 30 meters per second. Makes perfect sense. All right. Next question. What is the name of the force that is pulling him down? One word only. Okay. Remember, anything that falls freely under the influence of gravity is pulled down by weight, right? His weight is what pulls him down, or, it's just good old gravity. Easy enough. What is the value of the weight or the gravity? Okay, remember, it's not going to be 9.8. We can solve for weight, right? Force of gravity or weight is mg. So we can go ahead and throw in his mass, which is 100 kilograms. Let's just use 10 as they suggested. So his weight would be 100 kilograms times 10, or 1,000 newtons of weight is what causes him to fall. Okay, and then lastly here, they want us to, not lastly, but we're working our way to the end here. During that 3-second fall, he has fallen 45 meters. Remember, he falls 45, he ends up 35 above the ground. They want to know what work is done on him. Okay, remember, work is force times displacement. It's the force applied over some distance. Well, we've got it, guys, right? The force that makes him fall is 1,000 newtons, and the distance he falls is 45 meters. So this is not a big deal at all. We're going to do that 1,000 newtons of force over a 45-meter fall. The work done is 45,000 joules. Okay, is this work positive or negative? Well, remember, when the force is applied in the same direction that the object moves, that is increasing the energy of the object. So gravity points down, he's falling down. We would call that positive work. Okay, and we call that positive work because he is gaining kinetic energy, right? Gravity speeds him up, gives him kinetic energy. So this is certainly going to be positive because the force, right, and displacement are in the same direction. Force, displacement, same direction. All right, that was like the very first notes we did of energy. Okay, and then question number 7, lastly, why are the answers to 1 and 5 the same? So why is the work done 45,000 joules, and why is the kinetic energy at that point 45,000 joules? Because remember, work is change in energy, right? Work is how much the energy changes of the object. So gravity does the work, right? Gravity does 45,000 joules of work, which means the jumper gains 45,000 joules of kinetic energy, right? Work is change in energy. The work done on the object is the energy that the object gains. There you go, folks. So please go back through, double check all of these. If you have any questions, save them for block day when we will have some time to review these. You absolutely need to know how to do this. This stuff does show up on the test. Good luck. Happy studying.